Skrilla, the Sports Court. I'm Gregory Beatty, Grade A Media, Grade A Radio. In the place to be. Hold tight while I get rolling. Hold tight while I get rolling right here. You know it's on like Donkey Kong. Up in here. Hold tight. Hold tight. Huh? I'm live and direct? Okay, sure. That's what's up. Let me see. Well, let me do this then. Appreciate you, Skrilla. Let me go and share it right quick before I get rolling. Rolling. Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. Hey, I'm Gregory Beatty. They call me the KID. In the place to be. Glad to be here on this Tuesday evening. A lot going on in the sports world. Even though it doesn't seem like it. It's basketball season. You all know the basketball season is really getting down to crunch time right now. Baseball season getting kicked off. Football season is always going to be in. Always. But again, you're listening to the Sports Court. I'm Gregory Beatty. The show where we keep it 100% of the time. That's what I'm talking about. A few tidbits before I get going. I see what Leslie Frazier, defensive coordinator for the Bills, he's going to take off next season. Gonna sit out a year, then come back strong. Gonna get some well-needed rest. Recharge, so to speak. So looking forward to him coming back for the Buffalo Bills, running that defense. Wonder how Josh Allen feels about that. And the offensive side of the ball, Sean McDermott. Of course, we all know Sean McDermott is a defensive-minded coach, so I'm sure he's going to take more of a responsibility while Leslie Frazier is out on that absence, on that leave of absence, so to speak. So whatever he has to do to get it rolling, good for him. And I'm getting better with this technology. See, I came here today. I got on the computer. I did all I had to do. That's why it takes a minute sometimes for me to get rolling when I start streaming, because I actually want to use my phone to share it on other platforms, because I'm scared if I start pushing a bunch of buttons on this computer right here, ain't no telling. I may be offline and not even know it. But Skrilla Montana has my back there. He's in the building, in the place to be. Grade A Media, Grade A Radio. Again, you're listening to the Sports Court. I'm Gregory Beatty. Hey, what else is going on? What else is going on before I get rolling? Hey, check this out. Skrilla, man, I'm on the way over here, bro. And I see a dude on a motorcycle. He pops a wheelie. And he literally is leaning so far back, I'm talking about in the middle of traffic, zooming through traffic. He literally, I guess you could say he's so talented. Either he's so talented or so stupid. One of the two. Maybe both. Both could be true. But he's literally going through traffic between cars, and we all know this Houston traffic, going through traffic, popping a wheelie, head almost on the ground. He's that far back. The motorcycle actually jumped a bit, like as if he's about to lose. Hey, it's like this. If you're on a motorcycle and you're doing those kind of stunts, and back in the day when I was a kid, I used to pop wheelies and jump ramps on bicycles. Dirt bikes. Hey, man, what's up with these dudes on these motorcycles, bro? I mean, hey, next time, before one of y'all do that, let me get some life insurance. Let me take out a life insurance policy on you first. Policy out on you first. Seriously. I mean, come on. I mean, you're doing something stupid like that. Check it out. If that motorcycle would have if one slip up, one mistake, he's a goner. It's a wrap. It's over. I had somewhere to be. Don't try to get me with leaving the scene of a crime, especially when you're doing something stupid like that. That is stupidity. Don't get me wrong. I don't wish harm on anyone. But I got to keep it pushing. I got to keep it moving. Because I sure thought I was about to see a terrible accident right there. And I can't hang around for something stupid like that. That's just stupidity. That's not an accident. That's stupidity. I mean, you popping wheelies. Seriously? Damn. I admire the skill. But that is a skill right there and a talent that I do not care to have. Seriously. Zooming all through traffic and shit. I mean, come on, man. One false move by that motorcycle, that motorbike, and it is over. It's a wrap. Period. Helmet is not going to do you any good. It helps. But when I see guys on these motorcycles zooming in and out of traffic, popping wheelies, riding wheelies on the freeway, I mean, that's some crazy. I mean, that seems more like a suicidal mission to me. I'm serious. And I know it's a lot of motorcycle lovers out there who disagree with me, but bro, I looked at him like, bro, if you slip up right here, I mean, I didn't see nothing, dummy. Wow. He had his head literally almost on the damn ground, the back of his head on the ground. He popped that wheelie so strong and was riding with it for a minute too. That bike, hey, he almost lost it. He almost lost it. Be careful. I'm telling you. Again, before one of y'all do that again, let me get that insurance policy out on you first. Let me take that out first. Real talk. I mean, that is just craziness right there. Saw the news last week. You goddamn pack of pit bulls roaming, attacking the damn man. Why every time I see something, why every time I see something on TV about dogs attacking somebody, it's damn pit bulls. But every time you talk to somebody, oh, they're so sweet. I don't, and I love dogs, but I'm a German Shepherd guy. I don't mess with pit bulls. And I've said this before. Every time you see something on the news, it's pit bulls attacking somebody. Oh, a pack of pit bulls. You want my honest opinion? They should be banned, if you ask me. And I know it's a lot of pit bull lovers out there. Oh, you get them when they're 3 weeks old and 6 weeks old. But it's in their bloodline. Just cuckoo. What a cuckoo dog. Vicious. I love being able to defend yourself and being a dog, but damn, when you're attacking kids and attacking humans at will, and it always seems to be a pit bull. I saw the story coming in the news last week. They say a pack of dogs, before they went to break, they say a pack of dogs attacks a man. Was it in Galena Park or somewhere like that? They didn't even see what type of dog. They didn't even say what type of dogs it was. I knew it was a pack of pit bulls. I knew it. When they came back, what was it? Of course, a pack of pit bulls. Oh, she's so sweet. He's so sweet. Get them when they're 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Those be the same owners that be getting attacked by them after a couple years. Dumbass dogs. Ban their asses. I'm serious. Killing all these innocent people. And yeah, I mean that. Roof. Like I said, I'm a German Shepherd guy. Coldest dog in the world right there. That German Shepherd. Hey, Skrilla, they told me to tell you in church there's good girls. He don't know about that. That went over his head right there, little young buck. Black History Month. Y'all better get up. Y'all youngsters better get up on y'all classic black movie lines. That comes from Coming to America, as we all know. As we finish our Black History Month, Why Black History Month? I mean, it gets all the way to like February 20th before people really start acknowledging. I mean, in general as a whole, seems like it gets all the way to like February 20th before you really start seeing Black History Month getting hyped up. It's already the shortest month of the year, February 28th. Happy B-Day to my cuz, Daryl Lowe, San Francisco 49er fan. Happy B-Day, cuzzo. Friend of the show. You all have seen him on the show a number of times. Like when I first started, he's even been in here. I mean, man, but it's crazy. It's crazy. Floyd Mayweather. I see what Floyd, sit down somewhere. Now Floyd is talking about he probably has a broken hand. Now, I'm not tripping. Make that money. If they're going to continue to give you that bag in your exhibition bouts, when you're fighting TV reality stars and you're going all overseas. But I know what, his last fight where he thinks he broke his hand, fighting in London to a largely empty arena, empty. That act is wearing out, Floyd. People are not caring about seeing Floyd Mayweather fight guys like Aaron Chalmers, a reality TV star. That arena was empty in London. I mean, seriously. Floyd may have to rethink that. But hey, do what you do. Do what you do. But the writing may be on the wall right there. Finished his career 50-0. We all know Floyd Mayweather. One of the best to ever do it. Superb talent. Still flashing a lot of skills at his age against reality TV stars. Still showing the footwork. I saw clips of the fight. I have not followed him on his exhibition tour whatsoever. And I'm a Floyd Mayweather fan. Not before Sugar Ray Muhammad Ali, though. But, man, he said he thinks he broke his hand. Tommy Fury beat Jake Paul. Two fighters early in their career. Jake Paul, now he's being a legitimate boxer. Fought a legitimate boxer in Tommy Fury. From what I understand, was a boring fight. But from what I understand, Tommy Fury actually won that fight. Even though I saw Jake Paul talking a bunch of noise about how he was going to whoop Tommy Fury and his boxing game was lame and weak and all this kind of stuff. But that's what boxers do. It's nothing to that. That's just what they do to promote the fight. But Big Tommy Fury got after him, though. Actually beat him, but that fight wasn't anything to write home about. It wasn't anything to write home about. Of course, we all know, again, going to talk some college football. The combine is coming up here this week. Can't wait. Every year, the combine, you get a lot of people, you get a lot of players who shine at the combine. Draft stock rises tremendously. Then you have some that drop at the combine. Talk about that here in a second. Of course, I saw what Byron Jones for the Dolphins. Y'all remember Byron Jones, speaking of the combine? Remember the combine warrior that he was some years ago? Played for the Cowboys for a minute. Went on to the Dolphins. Signed a big contract. Missed last season because of an Achilles injury. You probably forgot about Byron Jones, huh? Super athletic. Shined in the combine. Really improved his draft stock. Combine warrior. Says he can't even run or jump right now because of the injuries and the toll that it's taken on his body. Again, coming off an Achilles injury. He might be gone. He might be done. That contract he signed with the Dolphins, he may just be done at the end of the day. Can't run or can't jump, and you missed the entire last season. Now, hopefully over the summer, same thing I was saying about Lonzo Ball. Hopefully over the summer with his chronic knee injury, hopefully over the summer, Byron Jones as well as Lonzo Ball, they can have this drastic turnaround. But, hey, you heard it from himself. Hey, he said it himself. And he says he doesn't like to take pills or take injections. He warns people against that. Don't take pills. Don't take injections. Gather a second opinion, a third opinion. I've never been a pill-popping type guy either, as far as medicine, anything. But he says do not take pills. And I understand some people have to do it as far as medicine. I understand that. I've just never been a guy who was looking forward to taking pills, whether it be for whatever reason. Just nice multivitamin every day. Definitely do. I'll definitely do that. But Floyd, what else is going on? What else is going on? I jotted this down a while back when I was talking about the Detroit Lions. This is something probably totally off the radar right now, but I was watching some old highlights. I like YouTube, and I'm a guy that loves to reflect, but I also love to look ahead. But I love that nostalgia. I was watching some YouTube highlights of Billy Sims because somebody was telling me about his barbecue place. I didn't know he had a barbecue place. Billy Sims Barbecue has a number of chains. I hear it's pretty good too. But again, if you don't smell the smoke coming down the street, it's not a real barbecue place. It's commercialized. If I'm coming down the street and I don't smell that smoke, probably not my type of barbecue. If you have to walk in the building to finally smell the smoke, but you don't smell it when you pull up in the parking lot, probably not my type of barbecue. But I was watching some of his Oklahoma highlights, and then, of course, when he got to the Detroit Lions, and I love the direction the Detroit Lions are going right now. But I was just thinking to myself, as much as I love Barry Sanders, as great as a running back as he was, how in the hell did the Detroit Lions let Barry Sanders? This is one gripe I've always had against the Detroit Lions. Kind of understated, but something that has always kind of been in the back of my mind, like, Billy Sims' number should have been retired from the Detroit Lions. As short of a career as he had, wearing number 20, Barry Sanders should have never come in there to the Detroit Lions and wore number 20. He should have been given number 21, like he wore at Oklahoma State, where he was a big-time Heisman Trophy winner. But Billy Sims is a legend with the Detroit Lions in the few years that he played. If it wasn't for that knee injury, he'd be a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. That's the original number 20 for the Detroit Lions, Billy Sims. And I've been meaning to bring that up, like, even during football season, when we would talk about Detroit, or I would talk about some of the running backs, how did Barry Sanders go to Detroit and put on number 20? In my opinion, that's a black eye on the Detroit Lions organization. As great and the way they're ascending right now, and as much as I love Dave Campbell, and I know it's something that's, okay, it really probably means much of nothing to most people, but Barry Sanders should have never put on number 20. That number should have been retired. Billy Sims, again, even with the few years that he played, Rookie of the Year, coming out of Oklahoma. I'm just saying. I just wanted to throw that in there. It amazes me when I look at some of those highlights and Barry is running all over the field wearing that number 20, and I've always said he should have never even been able to put on that number 20. Billy Sims, as cold as Billy Sims was, wearing that number 20 for the Lions, jumping over people, high wire act at running back, 6'1", 220, powerful, speed. If he wouldn't hurt that knee, he was going to be a great one. Of course, you all have heard me talk about Marcus Dupree. I look at his YouTube highlights and all those guys. But I want to correct something. When I was talking about my favorite running backs from years past a few weeks ago, how did I not throw in my boy Thurman Thomas? Oklahoma State while Barry was there, but before Barry had to wait behind Thurman Thomas. Of course, he was returning kicks and doing his thing, subbing in. Everybody knew Barry Sanders was going to be special, even as a true freshman, returning kickoffs and punts like it was nothing. Speaking of punch, real quick, speaking of Marcus Dupree, as I harken back to those greats, Marcus Dupree, 6'3", 220, 225, top running back in the nation, Oklahoma. Only played there 1 year, then played half of a season the next season. But big-time freshman season. I remember his freshman year. Now, you're talking about a big play running back? Go back and YouTube Marcus Dupree's highlights from Oklahoma. You talking about I have never seen a big play running back do what he did his freshman season. Just YouTube. Big run after big run, 50 yards here, 70 yards here, 80 yards here. But one time he said, Coach, let me get back there on punt return. Took a punt back, 6'3", 220, like it was nothing, untouched. Untouched. But Thurman, the guy who actually put my high school on the map from around the way, around the neighborhood, Thurman Thomas, my bad, bro. My bad. Of course, I was talking about all these running backs that were he should have been a first-round draft pick. I was talking about all these running backs that were high picks. Of course, Herschel Walker actually went to the USFL. Marcus Dupree actually did, too, when the USFL was kicking. But Thurman, man, I remember Thurman freshman year at Oklahoma State. Even when those games were not on television, I would turn on the radio. The sensational freshman, Thurman Thomas from Willow Ridge High School, put us on the map. So definitely Thurman is one of my favorite college running backs of all time. Of course, I'm getting ready for this combine, so that's why I'm in that mode. That's why I'm in that reflective mode, thinking about all these guys that have shined at the combine and that have turned out great careers. You look at a guy like and I'll talk about some more of this combine stuff here shortly here, but you look at a guy like Jeff George, who I played against in college when he was at the University of Illinois. I never forget saying that's the best. I mean, I've never seen an arm on a quarterback like that. And of course, when he went to the combine, of course he shined. One flick of the wrist, making every pass you can make. Showed that tremendous arm. Scouts were not really crazy about his character. From what I understood, could be somewhat of an a-hole. From what I understood. I don't know the guy. But just seemed to come across as aloof and disingenuous at times, or just unfriendly to be point blank. But again, I don't know him. I've never met him personally. But I'll never forget when he was at the University of Illinois when we played them in Champaign. I'll never forget sitting on the sideline watching this guy after he had transferred from Purdue. Of course, the number one player in the nation the year he came out of high school in Indiana, went to Purdue for his freshman season, started as a true freshman, then transferred to the University of Illinois, sat out a year. At that time, you had to sit out a year. But I'll never forget saying to myself, man, that guy could. And he was throwing into the wind. The elements were terrible. But you just saw the zip on the passes. I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the other guy, of course, that I remember vividly with a big-time arm was Drew Bledsoe. But I'll talk about the combine more here in a second. But a few more tidbits before I get rolling. Of course, KD makes his debut tonight. Of course, you all knew that that the Suns were not going to put him out there this past Sunday against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, who've reeled off 14 in a row. You know they were not. That's just, even though Giannis was not playing, you just do not want to bring him back in a game of that magnitude where you know the Milwaukee Bucks, who were going for their 14th win in a row, and the intensity that they play with, I don't think that's a game. At first you hear rumblings, oh, well, he may play Sunday. He may play Sunday against the Bucks. You don't want to bring KD back against the Bucks with that tenacious defense, the way they play. Bring him back tonight. Let me see here. NBA schedule. That's how I roll. Roof. Bulls and the Raptors. You got the Bulls and the Raptors. You got the Bucks and the Nets. And the Nets, even though they lost KD and Kyrie, eventually, after those new pieces gel and that team plays together for a while, the Nets are going to be a lot better than people think. Now, with only 20-something games left the remainder of this season, I don't know if you're going to see that this season. But I think next season, the Nets are still going to be a team to reckon with in the Eastern Conference. Of course, let me see who the Suns play before I talk about. Oh, no, they play tomorrow. They play the Hornets tomorrow. And speaking of injuries real quick, the Hornets, how sad is it with LaMelo Ball breaking his ankle, fracturing his leg? He's already had ankle issues on the other ankle. We talked about his brother Lonzo with his knee issues, who's missed the entire season with the Chicago Bulls, pretty much derailed their season. He was their leader, their point guard, a guy who brought it on the defensive side of the ball, but got DeMar DeRozan in spots where he needed to be. Of course, Zach LaVine. The Chicago Bulls definitely missed Lonzo Ball this season. But now LaMelo, fractured leg. He'll heal up from that. But he's had some ankle injuries this season as well. So you don't want to see that start accumulating. Ankle and leg injuries and things of that sort. Of course, tonight, we have, who's on the schedule for tonight? The Bulls and the Raptors, the aforementioned Bulls. The Bucks and the Nets. I think Giannis is still out right now with that thigh contusion. He'll be all right. When he first went out, and was that the Suns they played Sunday? Yeah, I think it was. But whatever the case, the Bucks have been balling. And no matter who they have in the lineup, Giannis in the lineup or not, and that's why I still pick the Bucks to come out of the East. They're just loaded. They're loaded. And the Celtics are too. Now, the Celtics may have a tad bit more overall foot speed than the Bucks. The Bucks they're a bigger team, but still athletic. Both teams play with tremendous intensity on the defensive side of the ball. But I just think Giannis is just going to get a little bit more rest while they continue to win. Rest that thigh contusion, but that's not going to be a problem. When he first did it, I was like, man, I hope Giannis is not out with a knee injury. But it didn't look to be serious. Turns out it's not a contusion to his leg. But the Bucks, man, Drew Holiday, the way Drew Holiday is playing right now on both ends of the floor, made the All-Star team this past season. First time he's made the All-Star team since 10 years ago. So that's the widest gap, I think, of any All-Star ever, if I'm not mistaken. Forgive me if I'm wrong. A 10-year gap. But he knows what he wants to do on the court. He's savvy. He's tough. He's tenacious. Not scared to take big shots. Knocks down big shots. Guards the opposing team's best perimeter player. I mean, he does it all. Put up 33 the other night in that 14th straight victory. 33. Guys like Grayson Allen, creating, playing defense, knocking down the three. Hey, the Bucks, I love what I'm seeing from the Bucks. Javon Carter. Middleton is working his way back in. I mean, they go like 10 or 11 deep, as do the Celtics. They go like 10 or 11 deep with no problem, and all of those guys can play. Brook Lopez, you think he's just a big guy who likes to sit out there and shoot threes? Disrespect him off the dribble. He can take you off the dribble. You come out there, you try to take the three-pointer away, he can, hey, Brook can put it on the floor. He's tough. He protects the rim. And that's why I think with the Bucks' size, overall athleticism to go along with that, and the way they're coached, being tenacious on the defense side of the ball, Budenholzer, a guy who's been there, done that. So in a 7-game series, we'll see with the young coach Mazzulla. We'll see what he has to offer in a 7-game series when it's time to make adjustments. It's one thing, and I'm sure he's going to do well with all that talent on that team, a team that's been there already, so he can lean on them definitely. But in a 7-game series, when you're going to have to make adjustments, Budenholzer has been through the fire, and he had his trials and tribulations a few years back. But now that team, that chemistry on that team, both of those teams, but I'm talking about the Bucks right now. That chemistry on that team, the depth on that team, they can play big, they can play small, they can play the mid-range game. Every possession counts. Love what I'm seeing from the Milwaukee Bucks. And again, Giannis is so dominant. Get a bit more consistent on his free throws because they're definitely going to send him to the line. Because he's and when Giannis hurt his leg, I was saying to myself before that, because Giannis will get the ball and he'll get out in transition, and it's like hell on wheels. I mean, he is going at it full speed, taking big Euro steps. And I'll never forget saying to myself, watching the game, the beginning of that game, before this happened, I said, it just seems like he's going to injure himself with those big Euro steps. He's going to step on somebody's leg, or he's going to run into somebody, or twist his, or really what I thought he was going to twist. He's going to twist his knee. Luckily, it's just contusion. But he plays with no fear, and he stays in attack mode, attacking the basket. So big Robert Williams for the Celtics and all those guys, he's going to put the onus, he's going to try to get him in foul trouble because he's going to stay on the attack. He's going to stay on the attack. Then they have guys like Connaughton. Again, they go 10 or 11 deep. Bobby Portis, a guy that can take you off the dribble, athletic, 6'10", can shoot the three, great leader, a guy that's accepted his role as a sixth man. Remember when Bobby Portis first came into the league? What was he, like the second pick in the draft? And people had concerns about his character. I like the way he settled into his role. Okay, maybe I was the second pick in the draft, and maybe I'm not that superstar that maybe a lot of people thought I was going to be, being the second pick in the draft. But I'm a very good basketball player for this team and a very important piece for this team. And I always have a mismatch, it seems like. And I can do anything I want on the floor. I can rebound. I can run the floor. I can take people off the dribble. I can post up. I love the way Bobby Porter's game has evolved. But again, more so than his game, I love the way his attitude has evolved. And I love the person that he's become. He's become a great leader, and the fans of Milwaukee love the guy. So those are just a couple of pieces. Again, and Chris Middleton hasn't even made it all the way back yet. He still has some baby fat to knock off. Of course, the Celtics lost to the Knicks last night. The Knicks are balling right now. The Knicks are balling. Hey, Thibodeau, who I've been critical about over the years, even though I've always known that he's a damn good coach, great coach, by most accounts. Hey, Thibodeau has those guys balling. They beat the Celtics last night. So we'll see what they have to offer in the playoffs. But I know it's a lot of happy New York Knicks fans. And I ain't mad at them. Hey, when your team is balling like that, get yours. Get yours. But the Celtics, again, the Celtics are loaded. Knicks are playing at a very high level. I still pick the Bucks to come out of the East as of right now. barring any major injuries. I say that about the New York fans because the team that the Houston Rockets and Akeem Olajuwon got a ring against in '94, and this is when I really kind of started stop liking the Knicks. I don't hate the Knicks. I mean, I could care less about the Knicks. But when they talked all that noise back in '94, Harper, Derek Harper, and all those guys, Mason, God rest his soul, Anthony Mason, Big Oakley, and the Akeem them put it on them. I mean, it was a good series. But the best player in the league, because Jordan was gone, the best player in the league was Akeem Olajuwon. Better than Patrick Ewing. And you know what was even better than Patrick Ewing? When he was at U of H. Georgetown just had the better overall team. But I said all that to say this. How in the world is Stephen Silas still the coach for the Houston Rockets? And I've said it time and time again. And again, I hate to keep calling for this man's job. But with that talent, that young talent I see on that team that's not improving, I just wonder, and I bring it up because, of course, if you're a Houston Rockets fan, you want to get Victor Wembanyama. So you want to see improvement, but you just don't want to fire the guy and then the new coach just reels off a bunch of victories and takes them out of contention. But again, you all know me. I'm a firm believer of whatever happens is meant to happen. Whatever is meant to be is going to happen. Just stay patient. But you have to improve. Talk to me when Stephen Silas is no longer the coach for that team. And then I'll take the Houston Rockets organization serious. Because right now I can't. Dame Dollar just put up 71 against them. Wasn't it Oklahoma City not long ago broke a record with like 104, like so many three-pointers or something as a team? Over 20-something three-pointers? I mean, they continue to give up record after record after record. When is Stephen Silas, when are the Houston Rockets and their brass going to make a move and get things in order for what's going to be moving forward with the Houston Rockets? You mean to tell me they really think Stephen Silas is going to be the guy moving forward? This rebuild is putrid. Started out 10-27 last season. This season started out 10-27. I mean, where's the improvement? And you watch that game with Dame Dollar, and Dame is a bad boy. Dame is a bad boy. I mean, you saw what he did in the three-point contest in the All-Star game. But Dame Dollar is going to be Dame Dollar. And he's in Portland. He hasn't bolted and went anywhere else. He's like, okay, I'm going to win mine in Portland. I respect that. I also have no problem with somebody going and getting there somewhere else either. If they've tried it somewhere else for 9 years, a la Kevin Durant at Oklahoma City with Russell Westbrook, who's now with the Clippers. Of course, KD is now with Phoenix. But Dame Dollar put up 71 against the Rockets. And if you watch the game, and it's hard for me to just sit there and watch an entire Houston Rockets game now because they're so bad and so dumb. Damn. Same mistakes over and over and over. Turn the ball over. I don't see any improvement. I don't see anyone being held accountable. And I'm going to keep saying that until they get a new coach. I know damn well Mark Jackson wouldn't mind coaching that team. Hell, maybe even take a shot at Nate McMillan now. I'll talk about that here in a second. After about the Atlanta Hawks. But the Rockets are awful. Talk to me when Stephen Silas is no longer coach. I mean, do you hire from within? I don't know. Is John Lucas the guy? I don't know. How good of a coach really is John Lucas? We know he's a great guy. We know he's a great mentor. I remember John Lucas in his playing days. I remember John Lucas going all the way back to Maryland. Well, I don't vividly remember him at Maryland. But I'm a sports fanatic, so I know his exploits at Maryland. But I know in the NBA, he went through his drug issues, former number 1 overall pick, if I'm not mistaken. Number one or number two. I remember in 1986 when the Rockets made that run with Ralph Sampson and Akeem Olajuwon, Rodney McCray, and everybody thought the Rockets were going to be a team to be reckoned with for years to come, and injuries to Ralph Sampson's knees. Rodney McCray couldn't stop eating, and they just fizzled out. They were never the team that everybody thought they would be after making it in Akeem's second year to the NBA Finals against that great Boston Celtics team and Larry Bird. But I remember John Lucas being the floor general. But how good of a coach is he really? Is that the guy you really want to take up? He's on the roster right now. I don't see anybody being held accountable. I don't know how much of an X's and O's guy he is really. I know he's a great guy that's overcome some demons, and I commend him for that. I respect him for that. I can appreciate that. Great mentor to these guys, but how much is he really getting across to them on the basketball floor? Just because you're a great player or a damn good basketball player doesn't necessarily mean that you're a great coach all the time. And again, I'm not saying that John Lucas is a bad coach, but I hear people saying, well, maybe John Lucas should be the. I'm not so sure about that. He's on the bench every night. Every night with Stephen Silas. And the same things continue to happen. So why in the hell would you fire Stephen Silas and hire John Lucas unless you hired him as an interim coach with the intentions of bringing in somebody else, an entire new regime next season? As I clear my throat. But seriously, though, how good is John Lucas really as a basketball coach? So I don't think that's the guy. I mean, it's good he has a job. It's good he's turned his life around from those demons in the past. Seems to be on the straight and narrow from all accounts. The players love him. Steady paycheck every week. Cool. But hell, to be honest with you, and I know this won't happen, but I'd take my chances on Calvin Murphy coaching the Rockets if that was something that he was interested in. I know he's a bit up there in age now, but you all know Calvin. One of the greatest to ever do it on the basketball court. I love him as an analyst for the Houston Rockets, but maybe he should be the one coaching the Rockets. Still has tremendous energy. So I'm not so sure if John Lucas is the guy to take over. He's on the bench every night watching this debacle with the Houston Rockets. And when you watch that game with Dame Dollar the other night, it wasn't that the Rockets were not really hustling. A lot of those were contested shots. Dame Dollar is just that great. But it always happens against the Rockets. When are they going to stop the bleeding? Seriously. When is Stephen Silas going to stop the bleeding for that team? Or John Lucas? Again, like I said, I'd rather have Calvin Murphy down there coaching the Rockets. I think he would be more successful than either one of those guys. We talk about Ralph Sampson. Of course, Victor Wembanyama. We talk about the 7'4" protege from France who's going to be the number one pick, can do it all. Ralph was a 7'4" guy. I'll never forget Ralph Sampson as a true freshman at the University of Virginia. Of course, me and my brother, we used to subscribe to, and my dad, of course, when my mom and dad were together. Got divorced summer before my senior year, in case people didn't know. Very amicable. But I mean, Ralph Sampson was 7'4". He was a guard. I mean, he had guard skills, but not like Victor Wembanyama. And I want to, speaking of Ralph Sampson, again, I never forget, we subscribe to Sports Illustrated, but I'll never forget the Sports Illustrated article, 7'4" and still growing. I'll never forget that. Whole room was full of cutouts from Sports Illustrated books. Had Big Charles Barkley up there when he was at Auburn, eating a pizza. Had that picture up there, or a couple of his pics from that Sports Illustrated article. I can go on and on. Entire room was just full of pictures. Of course, when I left and went to Ohio State, Moms took all that down. Brother was like, why? But Victor Wembanyama is a different type of guy. So if the Rockets are tanking for him, I mean, he's a different type of guy than Ralph Sampson, again, who had those knee injuries but was a great player. And I want to send my condolences to the family of Terry Holland, speaking of Ralph Sampson, who lost his life to Alzheimer's at the age of 80 years old the other day. Terry Holland actually put Virginia basketball on the map. They were garbage before he got there, I think in 1974. But made the big splash with a guy from Harrisonburg, Virginia, Ralph Sampson, top recruit in the nation, I think along with James Worthy that year. Lured him to come to the University of Virginia, and the University of Virginia basketball program took off. Ranked them, never won a national championship, getting beat by Chaminade and teams like that. But Terry Holland was a great coach, and they played tenacious defense. So may he rest in peace. Just wanted to send my condolences to his family on behalf of the sports court as I talk about Ralph Sampson and the Houston Rockets and their prospects moving forward. But damn, Stephen Silas has to go. Great guy for what it seems like, but I could care less about that. With that talent right there, you don't want to waste another year of Jalen Green and Sengun. KPJ, who's actually injured right now. They ain't put up 71 and again. Even when they look like they're hustling, they still getting toasted. Looks can be deceiving. They look like they were hustling another day against Dame Dollar, still put up 71. Yeah, Dame is that great, but damn. So who the Rockets play tonight? I think I just said who the Rockets, but what record are they going to give up tonight? Or what record are they going to create tonight? 10 turnovers in the first 5 minutes of the game? That's very likely. Wouldn't surprise me. 34 the entire game? I'm sure they're going for that record at some point before the season ends. Wow. I mean, just brutal on the eyes. I'm watching them. I watch the Rockets like this. Like, damn, seriously? Turnover. Mistake. Not getting back on defense. Not staying focused. Damn. Just awful. And he's still the coach. And y'all expect me to take the Houston Rockets organization seriously. Look at the Atlanta Hawks. You all have heard me on this show. Remember after the Atlanta Hawks fired, remember when they went to the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of years ago? And then that next season, they really weren't doing anything? And of course, the Hawks, if you all don't know, anybody who doesn't know, they fired Nate McMillan. You remember I used to always say, Nate McMillan better be careful. Y'all remember that? I used to always say it all the time. When I talk about the teams in the Eastern Conference, I'd always, every now and then, hell, it got to the point to where when I would review the Eastern Conference teams that's in contention, as great as Trae Young is, it got to the point the last couple of years where I just said to hell with the Atlanta Hawks. All the talent they have on that team, and they are not progressing as a team, even under Nate McMillan. Now, people can say that Trae Young got him fired and all this kind of stuff, and Trae Young also got Lloyd Pierce fired. Of course, the Hawks hired Quinn Snyder. I think that's a great pickup. Former coach of the Utah Jazz. Great pickup. But real quick about Nate McMillan, though. Now, of course, his departure is months after a conflict with him and star guard Trae Young. Trae Young reportedly, something prompted him to skip a home game in Atlanta. It could be a myriad of things that prompted him to skip a home game in Atlanta, like Magic City. Actually used to go there when I was playing with the Falcons. I actually went there a few times, but I digress. Roof. But Nate McMillan, you know, he coached the Supersonics, coached the Trailblazers, coached the Pacers before joining the Hawks. He joined the Hawks staff as an assistant under Lloyd Pierce in the 2020-21 season. And then, of course, we all know they fired Pierce, and then they finished the season 27-11. Then they beat the number one seeded Philadelphia 76ers in the second round, making it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. But then they just disappeared. And the way they disappeared on the defense side of the ball. DeAndre Hunter, high draft pick, he comes and goes, inconsistent. But they stopped taking heed to what Nate McMillan was preaching. And as far as, especially on the defense side of the ball. As a team, as a whole. And you all remember, I used to say all the time, dating back to last season, Nate McMillan better be careful. Nate McMillan better be careful. This is coming off an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. Nate McMillan better be careful. What have you done for me lately? This is a what have you done for me lately world. And they just, what were they, 29-30 when he got fired? That team has too much talent to be playing under 500. Way too much talent. And y'all can blame it on Trae Young all y'all want. But obviously, Trae Young, just like I talk about Steven Silas, I'll never forget early this season, they asked Eric Gordon, who's now gone. I think he's with the Clippers, as a matter of fact, but left in the trade deadline. They asked Eric Gordon, they said, do you think you all have shown improvement? He's like, no, we haven't shown any improvement. That shows you what they think about Steven Silas right there. That's his way of saying he's not holding anybody accountable. Of course, he was traded. Then they asked Steven Silas about it, and he's giggly. I know that's his personality, but he's giggling, he's kind of laughing. Everything is laughable and a smile and a smirk to him. He is not the coach for that team. But Nate McMillan, I kept saying, better be careful. But I wouldn't mind seeing him get another shot with the Rockets. They give all these other guys, they regurgitate all these other guys. but it got to the point where the Atlanta Hawks, they just cared nothing about guarding their opponents. It was ice Trae, and that's it. Then you add DeJounte Murray, another great guard. You bring him in the fold from the Spurs, and you have a great guard combination with those two guys. But that still wasn't enough to make them improve again. DeAndre Hunter is inconsistent. John Collins, who you thought was going to make that huge leap, was on his way to being the next Karl Malone. Not. Athletic. So we'll see if Quinn Snyder, of course, they went 2-0 with Joe Prunty as the interim coach. So Quinn Snyder went on and jumped in there before Prunty started winning more games, and then everybody started saying, well, why don't you keep him? Why don't you keep him? You're going to save more money, too. He's already in-house. Quinn Snyder like, no, I'll go ahead on this 5-year deal. I'll start right now. Even though our prospects don't look great this season, it's a win-win for Quinn Snyder right now the remainder of this season. He gets a chance to build his culture, implement his scheme, his system, bring his voice to the fold, hold people accountable. So going into next season, he'll be rocking and rolling. And then whatever happens in the playoffs happens. They make it, what are they, the 8th seed right now in the Eastern Conference? If they catch lightning in the bottle, hey, damn. The Bolts. Speaking of the Bolts, real quick before I move on too, every time I talk about the Chargers and that offense back in the day, for some reason, I always leave out Kellen Winslow, the first and best tight end to ever do it like that, as far as being that pass-catching tight end, that athletic pass-catching tight end. When I said Bolts, that took me there. And, of course, James Brooks, the first legitimate that I can remember watching, legitimate third down scat back. To go along with Chuck Muncie, Charlie Joyner, Wes Chandler, John Jefferson, Dan Fouts. Just want to say that. But so we'll see. Quinn Snyder, you're talking about a guy who's tough, tenacious. I mean, I loved him as a coach with Utah. Passionate, grit, holds guys accountable. Definitely going to be a new voice for that team. Trae Young is not going to be able to do whatever he wants with Quinn Snyder. That I can guarantee you. I know Trae Young is a superstar, and the stars usually have the leverage in most situations as far as pro sports are concerned these days. They're making so much money. But Quinn Snyder's a guy that pays attention to detail, and that team, if they take heed to what Quinn Snyder is preaching, they're going to be locked in and night out on both sides of the ball. And I hate to say that about that they lost that interest on the defensive side of the ball, because that's what Nate McMillan was known for when he played with the Supersonics, being tenacious on the defensive side of the ball. So maybe he latches on somewhere else and gets it rolling, maybe with the Rockets. Like I said, I'll take him over Steven Silas, even though I don't like the way his tenure ended with the Hawks. But y'all remember, I used to always say, Nate McMillan better be careful. And you all see what happened. Of course, staying with basketball for a minute, of course I'm going to talk some college football. The NFL Combine is coming up here. Real quick thing of note, I know I said all that last week about the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Yankees and how it relates to the Houston Astros 2018, yada, 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 and the Dodgers being alleged cheaters as well, and of course the Yankees as well. But Gavin Lux, out with a torn ACL, was going to be their everyday shortstop. That's a big blow for the Dodgers. Batted .276 last year, mainly playing a lot of second base, but really power numbers really came on toward the end of the year. Big-time prospect. Definitely going to miss him on the defensive side of things. That's a big-time loss for the Dodgers. But I'm sure they're going to try to find somebody. You know the Dodgers spend that money. I'm sure the Dodgers are going to pay somebody to come over there. Of course, Manny Machado, of course, he's extended his deal. What, another 10 years with the Padres, $350 million? I mean, damn. What's it going to be, 40 or 41 by the time that deal ends? Guaranteed money? If I'm not mistaken? Wow. I love him as a player. Of course, he doesn't want to leave San Diego. But what you going to do with Juan Soto when his contract comes up? Of course, you have Tatis coming back. But the Padres are loaded. And again, that loss to the Dodgers. And again, I said all that about the Dodgers, but I never wish injury on anyone. So I hope he heals up. I hope he heals up more sooner than later. And of course, you all know, I have a place in my heart for guys that tear their ACL, because I tore mine. And he actually damaged his lateral ligament as well to go along with the ACL. So he's out for the season. He did that running the bases, and that is a huge blow. That's a huge blow. But again, Quinn Snyder is now with the Atlanta Hawks, so we'll see if they can make some kind of run. Of course, Landry Fields, their GM, 34 years old, was elevated to GM around Christmas time. But picked up Sadiq Bey in the trade deadline. Good player, but they've had good players the last couple of years. And we're not living up to the billing as far as being one of those top teams in the Eastern Conference. The way the Hawks looked a couple of years ago, they should be right up there with the Bucks, the Celtics, in the East Conference, the 76ers. I've talked about the 76ers and how I didn't believe the Sixers were a team that could but the more I watch the Sixers, the more impressed I am. James Harden, not the player that he once was as far as that quick first step, but he's still savvy. He can still get around you. We all know Embiid, if he can stay healthy, the most dominant player in the game. You have Maxey coming off the bench now. You have McClain. You have what's your boy? What's your boy that's like a fourth option now? But Philadelphia 76ers starting lineup. Then you have big let me see. I know who I want to say. I love PJ Tucker too. That's another thing. When I watched PJ Tucker the other day, I'm like, he doesn't seem like he's lost a step. Still playing with that same energy. We'll see if he still has that same energy and that same motor, which I'm sure he will, come playoff time when they really need him. But is Doc Rivers going to make the necessary adjustments in a series when the opponent makes the adjustments, the opposing coach of a great team makes those adjustments? As much as I love Doc Rivers, said it last week, as great of a player as he was, as good of a coach as he is, some might say great coach. I say very good coach. Championship with the Celtics. But is he going to make those necessary adjustments? But the more I watch them, you got Melton, Embiid, Tobias Harris is the guy I'm speaking of. Now he's like the third or fourth option. As long as he stays happy in his role, but stays aggressive when need be, I think that will help Philadelphia because he can put the ball in the basket. But P.J. Tucker, I think, is the X factor because he can harass the opponent's best wing defender. And just, he's going to keep bringing it and keep bringing it. So, but why aren't the Atlanta Hawks? They should be in that category with those three teams. Of course, we all know LeBron James. LeBron James, he injured his foot the other day. And I was just telling my boy the other day, we were texting actually after the game when he said he heard that pop. I said, man, come on. He finished the rest of the game, but obviously it's legit. Something's wrong with that foot. Supposedly he's going to be out for 2 weeks. And the way the Lakers were looking, the way they looked Sunday, erasing a 27-point deficit against the Mavericks who are now 1-3 with Kyrie and Luka in the backcourt. And they're going to win some games. But you all heard me say last week, I don't think the Mavericks are a threat to do anything in the Western Conference this season. As a matter of fact, I don't think they're as good this season as they were last year. I really don't. Even with the addition of the high-scoring Kyrie Irving. But it's going to take a while for him and Luka to mesh. You saw they were not on the same page the other day as far as that inbounds pass is concerned. But the Lakers and LeBron James erased that 20. Hey, Vanderbilt, man, talking about an Energizer Bunny. I love the way the Lakers were looking before LeBron's injury. That's a devastating injury if he's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks. A team that's trying to climb in the standings to make sure they at least get in the play-in tournament. But I love the additions that they made with Malik Beasley, athletic guard who can knock down the shot, not scared to shoot the three, can knock down the three. Vanderbilt, Energizer Bunny, rebounder machine, almost Dennis Rodman-like in the way he plays out there. But he can also score the basketball. I hate that LeBron went down with that injury where he said he heard something pop. Finished that game. Hey, kudos to him for finishing that game. What a valiant effort on his part. Now, maybe the Lakers can ride that wave, ride that momentum, and keep the ball rolling until he comes back. He's going to be out at least 2 weeks, maybe 3. Maybe they can ride that momentum. Anthony Davis played big last game. If he plays like that, and I was sitting there saying to myself watching that game, wow, when D'Angelo Russell comes back and he's going to give them what he's going to give them, Ohio State actually was drafted by the Lakers. Malik Beasley, the roster looks completely different. But if Anthony Davis, I was saying to myself watching that game, wow, if AD plays like that and stays healthy, I know Barkley calls him street clothes because he's always injured, but that's the thing. I was like, if he plays like that, because we know LeBron, even at 38, is going to be LeBron. He's going to do what he's going to do. He's going to continue to dominate and put up numbers, do it a tad bit different than he used to do it. Still explosive, still play above the rim, but does it more in spurts now. Always been cerebral, but now even more cerebral, gets down on the block some, make passes off the block, does what he has to do, back smaller defenders down. But that foot injury really, I hope it doesn't derail this team and they can still make it and he can get back healthy. And if AD can play like that to go along with the additions that they made, I was saying to myself, I don't think anybody want to see the Lakers in the playoffs. Not if AD is playing like that to go along with LeBron and those pieces that they've added. That AD right there, that's a legitimate top 5 player in the league right there. Playing big. But the only thing with AD and even LeBron these days, we all know LeBron used to be the Iron Man. He's 38 years old now. He's going to have injuries here and there, things that keep him out for a while, just like right now. 38 years old, I mean, what you expect? But it used to be a time LeBron would not get injured for nothing. Same thing happened to Kobe toward the end of his career. So hopefully that foot injury doesn't keep him out too long. But now you have to, even if they do make it, you have to worry about how long is Anthony Davis going to, I mean, they can get to the playoffs and be the hottest team in the NBA. I'm just saying. They can be, but just like with anybody else, one moment and bam, they're gone. But Anthony Davis just seems to have that propensity to always put himself in that situation. They may get in the playoffs, may get in the first round, or may win the playoff game or whatever, or and he may get hurt in the damn playoff. They may win the game, but he may get injured and miss the first round. I mean, it's not funny, and I hope that doesn't happen, obviously. But you never know what you're going to get from Anthony Davis. But when he plays like that, wow. A couple other tidbits. The Falcons released Marcus Mariota. They released him. Of course, I'll get back to some basketball here in a second. But, and again, quit popping them damn willies on them damn motorcycles. I had to jot that down when I saw that. The Browns said they might restructure Deshaun Watson's contract. And if the Browns want to be any good, if Deshaun Watson wants a good team around him, we know he got the $230 million guaranteed. We all know Lamar Jackson is going for that and then some. We'll talk about that maybe next week. We'll see what transpires moving forward. Not too much to really talk about in that regard. Again, just see what transpires, see how it plays out. They definitely should give him his bag. But who knows if they will. I'm not totally sure that they are. Does he play on the franchise tag? We don't know. But the Browns, if Deshaun Watson wants a team around him, he might have to restructure that contract, at least to some degree. I mean, man, missed 11 games last year. We all know Deshaun Watson didn't come back as the player we thought he would be. And I know it's a lot of you all that's rooting against Deshaun Watson. I'm not one of those guys. I am not one of those guys. I wish him well. He's paid his debt. He's maintained his innocence, even though I'm not going to go back there. I hope everyone involved is doing just fine. But Deshaun Watson, let's not forget, we talk about all these quarterbacks and how great these quarterbacks are. Let's not forget about the highest paid quarterback in the game. And if he can hit the ground running or get back to where we know he could be, that's another great quarterback to add to the mix, to all these other quarterbacks, to Patrick Mahomes and all these guys. Speaking of Patrick Mahomes real quick, I heard Andy Reid say, before I get back to Deshaun Watson, I heard Andy Reid say today that he's happy that he's really looking forward to Matt Nagy coaching Deshaun Watson. We all know Eric Bieniemy has taken his talents to the Washington Commanders, who released Carson Wentz today. But he said he's looking forward to Matt Nagy coaching Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes is thrilled and looking forward to the opportunity because he's that hard of a worker, and he's looking forward to seeing what else they can draw up to add to what they already have to make him even better. And Patrick Mahomes wants to be better with his work ethic. That's scary. You're going to scheme. Big Andy's going to scheme up some more plays. Man. But Deshaun Watson, he may want to restructure, get some more talent over there. They don't have a first-round pick this year. Of course, in 11 games due to suspension. Of course, in 11 games last season, he passed for 1,102 yards, 58.2 completion rate, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 6.5 yards per attempt, plus 175 yards rushing, which we know he's going to get more than that moving forward, even though he's been out for a while. He didn't have his legs under him last year. He was rusty. That's obvious. That's the point I'm making. His 79.1 passer rating would have been 5th worst had he qualified, sandwiched right between Carson Wentz and Baker Mayfield. But if he wants some more talent on the team and wants to clear some cap space, a la Zeke Elliott, who's counting 16-something million against the cap for the Cowboys, who would cost that much. Deshaun Watson over 4 years, almost 55 million something. I need to get better with those salary cap numbers. Sometimes I look at some of those salary cap numbers. Oh, okay. Let somebody else talk about the salary cap number. But I'm going to start studying the salary cap numbers more. I'm going to start doing that. Note to self. Start studying salary cap numbers more. I'm serious. When I'm not up on something, it's only because it's something I'm just not paying attention to. Whenever I hone in on something, I lock it in with the best of them. I remember I used to before I come to the show sometime, I would do things like, okay, instead of saying wasn't, make sure you say wasn't. And I'll be practicing. Wasn't. Hey, whatever it takes. Not wasn't, but wasn't. Just stuff like that. But yeah, Carson Wentz is out of there. Deshaun, I think he's going to be a lot better next season for the Browns. I really do. Aaron Rodgers left his retreat, his darkness retreat. Like I said, I've told you all time and time again, and I'm not going to get too deep into the conversation about Aaron Rodgers right now. It is what it is with Aaron Rodgers. He's been doing this for the last couple of years. What have I been telling y'all? And it sounded more and more like it now when you listen to the GM from the Packers. They're ready for Aaron Rodgers to be gone. They just couldn't do it when he was winning MVPs. Y'all have heard me talk about this for the last couple of years. LaFleur and all those. They're ready to give the reins to Jordan Love. Say what you will, Jordan Love haven't played that. They have seen enough of Jordan Love. They're ready to give the reins to Jordan Love. Not only the organization, but more so than anything, Matt LaFleur is ready to make his mark. He didn't win MVP last year or make the playoffs. So now they're like, aha. Now we have some leverage. Now we can't really get blasted by the media. But you have to let us know what you want to do, Aaron Rodgers, more so than anything. I mean, there's still a slim chance he ends back up with the Packers because he's due $59 million, close to $60 million. And sometimes you just can't get a contract like that off your hands. How much are the Jets going to have to give up to get him? I mean, so we'll see. But I don't think he's going to be with the Packers. If the Packers had their wish, and it's sounding more and more again like they're leaning toward, okay, we want to find a way to separate ourselves from you now. We love what you've done. Of course, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. No one's denying that. And no one's denying that you can still play. But we want to get Jordan Love going. We don't know if you can still play to that level. But we've seen it happen before. Hey, guys go to another team, everybody writes them off. Hell, Aaron Rodgers may go to the Jets or somebody next season. May be in the running for MVP. Who knows? You have Garrett Wilson over there, Ohio State. A lot of talent over there. But I told y'all the Pack are ready to move on from Aaron Rodgers. And no, he's not going to retire. Darkness retreats, whatever else retreats you want to go to. Seriously. Hang gliding. Anything to take your mind off of it for a while. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to matter because 60 mil is 60 mil. So Aaron Rodgers is not going to retire. I'm going to take a darkness retreat and really think things out and see what I want to do. Okay. All right. The Chicago Bears, before I talk about the combine here. The Chicago Bears. They're not trading Justin Fields. As the great Mel Kiper and Todd McShay, those guys are great at what they do, and others for that matter. The Bears more than likely are going to trade the number 1 pick. Now, who knows if the Texans get that pick and how much are the Texans going to have to give up if they go up and get the number 1 pick from the Bears and the Bears move down? That's why I say winning that game this week could come back to haunt them because you want to add to your talent pool. You don't want to give away all your draft capital or give away young talent that you think is ascending and that can be assets to your team moving forward. But if they want to get their quarterback of the future, that just may be what they have to do. Of course, they ended up the Colts. The Colts may want to move up. But the Bears are not trading Justin Fields. Like I've been saying, Justin Fields is the guy. And I hear all these people talking about how great of a runner he is. Oh, he's a great runner. Yeah, and he's a great passer. Get him some weapons. Damn, you think he got drafted because he was a great runner? He got drafted because he was a great dual threat. Did you all not watch the Clemson game? It amazes me how the narrative changes just because the quarterback has a down year. He's not a great passer. The same thing about Jalen Hurts. And we all know Jalen Hurts could have gotten better, which he did, accuracy and reading coverages and pinpoint accuracy, which he did, timing and things like that. But I saw him play at Oklahoma this last year, throwing the football. Justin Fields, throwing the football. Even last year, throwing the football. But you listen to the narrative, it's always he's a great runner, but can he improve as a passer? Yeah, you get him some receivers and some talent, just like anybody else. We're having those same questions about Peyton Manning when he threw, 28 interceptions his rookie year? It wasn't anything about Peyton Manning and can he evolve as a passer? Because that's what he was noted as, a passer, not a runner. But you try to categorize Justin Fields, he's a great runner. No, he's a great passer too, with a cannon for an arm. And should have been the second quarterback picked behind Trevor Lawrence. Both of those guys were the top high school players in the nation, coming out of high school at quarterback. Should have been the second quarterback picked. But no, the Jets want to go out there and they want to get Zach Wilson because they like his highlight tape. Justin Fields is going to be a great one, folks. The same thing I told y'all about Jalen Hurts. Remember, I said the same thing about Justin Fields. And I love the fact that the Bears and Ryan Poles, they're probably going to move down, acquire assets, still get them a top-notch defender, but then still get some draft capital to go along with everything else they have. They got Claypool. Don't forget about him. He may find this groove again from Pittsburgh. Get some talent around the guy. Get the line to block for him. How in the hell can he throw the ball if he's running for his life? But don't sit there and try to get this narrative like he's not. He's a damn good passer. Can make every throw. Can he be a bit more accurate? Yeah. But if you're running for your life, you probably won't be accurate either. Justin Fields is going to be a great one. And I love the fact that the Bears realize that and they're sticking with him. But again, you know, talk about all these guys, and I love Peyton Manning. You all always hear me refer back to the Mannings and the admiration I have for the Manning family as a whole. He was the number one pick in the draft through 28, and he had talent on the team. He had talent on the team and threw 28 interceptions or something like that. I mean, come on. Was anybody leaving that season talking about, well, can he throw the ball? Can he throw the ball? Again, he had weapons. Come on, man, don't get me started. Troy Aikman with 1-15 his rookie year. You know, I love some Troy Aikman too. Great analyst as well. Of course, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Turned out a Hall of Fame career. Super Bowl MVP. Three-time Super Bowl champion. What did he throw? 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions his rookie year, something like that. Of course, they built themselves up in the draft moving forward. But was anyone questioning, was Troy Aikman the long-term quarterback for the Cowboys moving forward? Is he going to be able to throw the ball like we thought he could? But as soon as you have a dual-threat quarterback and running back, and he doesn't have the weapons around him to really thrive as a passer, all of a sudden, well, he's not really a good passer. Can't fool me like that. I know the deal. He's a great passer. Get him some damn weapons. Get him an offensive line. You're going to see how good of a passer he is. He's not a great passer. It's a bunch of baloney. A bunch of baloney. You had a combine coming up this week. I want to see what these receivers do. I want to see what these wide receivers do. You got Quentin Johnston, 6'4", 215 from TCU. Again, Marvin Harrison doesn't come out till next season. Number one pick, in my humble opinion. You can say, well, probably not going to pick another receiver with the number one pick. The last receiver to go number one was Keyshawn Johnson to the Jets. And you know the next receiver to go number one, if they're smart, Marvin Harrison Jr. Period. Playmaker. Don't sit there and tell me how valuable the quarterback position and the wide receiver position, how valuable it is. You want to devalue running backs. So you're not going to take a running back number one. Marvin Harrison Jr. is that special. And I know I'm talking about next year's draft. I jumped to that real quick because that's how special he is, and I want to make note of that. He should be the number one pick, barring injury, because he's elite. Big play receiver, can do it all. Intermediate routes, great route runner, catches everything in sight. Franchise caliber, Jerry Rice type receiver, period. Number one pick. You got to score points. Maybe a team that has their number one pick has their franchise quarterback already, and that would help that case right there. But Quentin Johnston, 6'4", 215, 4.4 flat in this year's draft. Good route runner. Excellent downfield speed. Needs to work on more. Probably can improve his route tree, which a lot of those receivers can. Very athletic. If I'm the Texans at 12, that's who I pick. After you get Bryce Young with the quarterback position, if he's available. If you don't let the Colts or somebody like that move up and snatch him away. Again, it needs to expand this route tree. But then you have Jordan Addison, 6 foot 175. I didn't realize he was that fast, 4.39. But he's more of a slot receiver. He can be a great slot receiver. Has deep speed. Can run. I don't really know how. He needs to get better on this press man. Hasn't really had to beat anybody in press man yet to that degree. But supposedly he has the long speed, the quick feet to get in and out of breaks. I think he'll be a great slot receiver. I see him as a slot receiver. Of course, Jalen Hyatt, same way, big play receiver, 4.29 from Tennessee. Jordan Addison from USC. Quentin Johnston from TCU. Jalen Hyatt has elite speed. He can eat up the cushion on the cornerback like it's nothing. I watched him with Hendon Hooker this year, who I hope heals up well. I think he's going to be a great quarterback in the NFL, Hendon Hooker. Whoever takes a chance on Hendon Hooker, I think will be very, very happy. Even though he'll be 25 years old, so what? They're playing to their 40 right now anyway. That may be a great thing. That much more cerebral. But Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee, great run after the catch. Always open. Always open. So he only has 1 year of tape, but hey, you can't go wrong with any one of those three receivers or Jackson Smith-Njigba from Ohio State. And yes, I'm still mad at Jackson Smith-Njigba for not playing in that game. Probably would have beaten Georgia after Marvin Harrison Jr. gotten hurt if he would have been there in the slot or a wide receiver. He was noted as the best wide receiver in the nation coming into this season. But he can be a super slot receiver as well. I mean, I'm not going to hold a grudge against the guy. I'm not going to hold a grudge against the young man. I wish him well. Still disappointed in him. Every time I see him at least for a long while, I'm going to think about that. Man, you let your team down. You had a chance to play in the playoffs to help propel your team to maybe a national championship berth. And your absence loomed big as that game waned on. His absence loomed big. Smooth, agile, great hands. 4.48, not a speed demon, but not slow by any means. 6'1", 200. Again, strong hands. All these guys have a nice catch radius as well. But Jackson Smith-Njigba, even when he takes it deep, when he's on a deep pattern, just the way he adjusts to the football and the way he adjusts his body and uses his hands to snare the football out the air, is something nice. Something nice. He's a deep threat, even though he doesn't have elite speed. But he definitely can work underneath. Very slippery, in and out of his breaks. I love his game. I love his game when he's playing. Great on intermediate routes. Tracks the ball well. These running backs, everybody's talking about they wouldn't take a running back in the first round. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it again. Bijan Robinson is a superstar. Period. Whoever gets him, the object of the game is to score points, right? That's why I don't necessarily totally agree with this notion like, oh, I wouldn't take a running back in the first round. Okay, pass up on Bijan Robinson in the first round, dum-dums. Go ahead. Every now and then, that's somebody you just have to buck the norm with, or what, quote unquote, the pundits say. What did your eyes tell you? The guy is special. What is he, 6'1", 220? 3 down back. Superb running back. Superstar. Whoever gets Bijan Robinson, off and running. I'm going to say it like that. Jahmyr Gibbs, love Jahmyr Gibbs. Big time running back. I talked about James Brooks. Earlier. Skrilla in there jamming, man. You want me to kick a freestyle, Skrilla? They ain't ready. They ain't ready for that killer freestyle. at the age of 52. It don't stop. He's about to make me start doing it too. I might kick one for y'all one day. For real. Might go viral. Real talk. Real talk. Off the top too. Jahmyr Gibbs, Alabama, transfer from Georgia Tech. I talked about James Brooks, 3-down back. The scat back, that type of deal with the Chargers back in the day. Same thing, return kicks. Then you had Lionel James. Was it Lionel James too? At some point. But Jahmyr Gibbs is that type of back. He can be a late first rounder. But these are guys that can change the game. They can change the game. They can change the game. And that, no, let me stop. I was about to start going just for the hell of it. Devon Achane. Hey, watch out for him. I wouldn't mind seeing the Cowboys, if they're able to get him. I know they have other needs, but if you're able to get Devon Achane out of Texas A&M, or even the Texans for that matter, I want to see their head coach. I want to see that young brother succeed. I really do. But Achane, I broadcasted some of his high school football games when he was in Marshall. And all I remember saying, he's probably the fastest player in the draft. It's going to be interesting to see what he runs in the combine. But you get him in the mid-second round, let him return kicks. 5'9", 185, but powerful, strong, breaks tackles, a jet. Bye-bye. Kickoff return, bye-bye. Devon Achane better not last past the middle of the second round if these teams are smart. All that, we can wait till the third, fourth round. These 3 running backs I just named, they have to be gone. Bijan Robinson has to be gone, not by the 21st pick or some of these mock drafts, 23rd pick or the Chargers at this pick. And Bijan Robinson has to be gone by pick 15, period. I really want to say pick 10. That's how special he is. For real, for real, for real. But these 3 running backs, they have to go. Bryce Young is not going to throw in the upcoming combine. I don't blame him. He's working with a nutritionist, trying to put on weight. Everybody's talking about his weight, 195. Okay. I think he can get up to 210 and still maintain his athleticism. Bryce Young is the best quarterback in the draft, period. He's not going to measure his 6 foot. Probably not. I'll be surprised if he did. He's probably going to be 5'11", 5'10 and a half. Hell, who knows? He still may be growing. I didn't stop growing. I was like 23. I grew like 1.25 inches since I left Ohio State. Seriously. But he's special. Great leader. How many times do I have to say it? He's the best quarterback in the draft. He's not going to throw. He's going to throw this pro day at Alabama. What is it, March, a few weeks from now, whenever that is. It has nothing to do with the shoulder injury. But he's the number 1 pick in the draft. He's the number 1 prospect in the draft by most accounts. He has nothing to gain and everything to lose. I commend C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. They're going to throw at the combine. But Bryce Young is going to do everything else. He's going to have his meetings, and all those guys are going to have their meetings and do everything else. He's going to get measured and do all that. He's not going to be 6 foot. I don't think he is. And he's going to be able to put on that 10 pounds. We're acting like he has to put on 30 pounds or something. He's 195. They say he's probably up to 200 right now. I mean, why can't he bulk up? He can bulk up. But again, more so than anything, the guy does not take big hits. He's smart. He's cerebral. He's a playmaker. He's a great leader. His teammates always feel like they have a chance with him at quarterback. He's a magician. He's a wizard. Keeps his eyes downfield, even though he's a great scrambler. Always looking to make the pass downfield. I love Bryce Young as a quarterback. Love C.J. Stroud as well. Almost won us that game against Georgia. We should have won that game. I know, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I want to see Hey, if the Texans end up with C.J. Stroud, I ain't mad at them. Will Levis is going to be a great quarterback, I think, when he gets some talent around him. Didn't have a whole lot of talent at Kentucky. Big, strong arm guy. Anthony Richardson, who you all remember me saying at some point in the season, when I watched him play one time, I said, hell, that's the first pick in the draft. That's Cam Newton-esque right there. Maybe he could have stayed in school for another year, but if you're going to be a top 10 pick, more than likely he will. Why not? Why not vote for the NFL? Get that money. Who knows what happens next year? You see what happened to Brock Purdy, the San Francisco quarterback. Now he has to have elbow surgery. I mean, you never know what can happen. Not only to your legs, but to your throwing arm. So I don't blame him one bit. But Bryce Young is not going to throw. I don't blame him. Now, you could say, oh, well, you want to see them all compete. Yeah, that too. But in some instances like that, and he's going to throw. He's going to throw at his pro day. He's going to throw every throw they want him to make. I'm sure he's going to make them. The scout is going to be like, make this throw. He's going to throw it. Make that throw. He's going to throw it. But he's going to go in. He's going to interview just like all the rest of those guys, and he's going to show. And also Jalen Carter, the big defensive tackle from Georgia. He's not going to participate. He's going to go through measurements and all that kind of stuff, but he's going to wait till his pro day at Georgia. Sometimes if you don't have nowhere to go but down, you have to play their game with them. You already know they're trying to nitpick and pick you apart anyway. But I can tell you right now, he's probably not going to go in and measure 6 foot unless the scouts have something where they're saying, because I remember, and trust me, it took me a minute to get sold on Bryce Young. I remember coming in here saying, I'm not too crazy about Bryce Young. And that's the year he won the Heisman. And I remember me and Eddie was in here, and I was like, man, how tall is he? Like 5'9"? But the more I watched him, the more I watched his demeanor, the more I watched his playmaking ability, the more I watched this, how great the guy is as a quarterback, as a leader. I said, oh, man, this dude is special. This dude is special. Again, love CJ. Better scrambling than we thought after watching him against Georgia. Anthony Richardson, freak of nature. Can do it all. He's probably going to go through a learning curve, just like all of them. Well, I think Bryce Young is the more pro-ready out of all those guys right now. And I don't think him being under 6 foot. And by the time he starts the football season next year, he'll be 210. Can he carry that weight? We shall see. But it's not like he has to get up to 230. He can put on muscle and get up to 210 if he's already 195, 200 pounds right now, working with a nutritionist. I already see the way he bulked up a little bit from the year he won the Heisman. But I can understand teams, of course, when they're spending that kind of money, when you're drafting someone that high. Again, like I said before, of course, it's not my money, so it's easy for me to come in there and say, oh, I'll draft him. But again, the guy doesn't take big hits. He's slithery. He's slippery. If he was a guy that didn't play smart, and at some point he's going to get hit just like all the rest of them. Hell, 6'3", 220. You can take a shot just like, if anything, he may be able to avoid more contact than those bigger guys. They're more of a target. Think about it. You got to find him. He's going to be slipping and sliding, working his magic. So, hey, we'll see Jalen Ramsey may be in trade talks. Do the Texans want to go get Jalen Ramsey? Do they want to go get him? But yeah, I'm about to get out of here. I saw this game, the 1968, real quick. I saw the 1968. I was watching not long ago the 1968, and I jotted it down this week because during the Rockets game, they actually at halftime, they actually highlighted. They referred back to the 1968 UCLA and U of H. U of H still ranked number 1 in college basketball. I'll talk more college basketball next week, as a matter of fact. Planned on doing it to some degree this week, but time is kind of It's 7:43, and I'll give it another week to pay attention to it. Of course, March Madness is about to start. It's about to get real fun. It's about to get real fun. And I want the Cougars to go take it all. Again, do something that Phi Slimmer Jammer, I'm going to refer to him again, was never able to do, and that's win a national championship. But watching that 1968 UCLA U of H game, of course, Elvin Hayes, Will Guy Lewis, and U of H, they had Otis Birdsong. Was Otis Birdsong? No, I don't think Otis Birdsong was there then in 68. But Elvin Hayes, the Big E, was there. Played in the Dome. Think about it. They played in the Dome. Lou Alcindor and UCLA. Guy Lewis the year before that was like, hey, y'all want to play UCLA next year? The players are like, yeah, cool. We'll play them in the tournament. They were like, he was like, no, in the regular season. Played them in the regular season. Much ballyhoo game in the Dome. I hear the players talking about how everything just looks so different when you shoot the ball because the crowd was so far back. The Astrodome, the great Lou Alcindor, U of H won that game. My dad's state high school football team was at that game. Every time I'm watching some of the highlights, of course, they were up in the nosebleed seats from what he tells me. But the 1968 Roe Tigers, that state championship team, which my dad was all-state, linebacker at 155 pounds, rocking at number 23. They were at that game. Every time I look at the highlights, even though it's dark in the crowd, I'm looking. Where they at? Where they at? They were at that game. Alabama's Brandon Miller meant to actually talk about that. Not charged with any crimes. We all know the incident at Alabama. Alabama, a great college basketball team this year. This freshman is doing some things on the basketball court, but also doing some things that he probably shouldn't, well, not probably, that he shouldn't be doing, like his pregame ritual of getting patted down. I think that's come to an end. As Coach Oates has said, that's not going to happen anymore. After he was alleged to have given, I think he's admitted to it as well, have given the players, the former players for Alabama that killed that young lady, tragically, unfortunately took her life not long ago on the strip at the University of Alabama. Supposedly Brandon Miller, the sensational freshman, actually supplied the shooter with the gun, but he continues to play. Shows you when you can play, it trumps everything. Of course, he's not charging anything, so that helps in their case. Like, well, hey, he's not charged. But it's a bit disingenuous. Maybe he should have been suspended at least for a couple of games. At least Bama tried to save face a little bit, show some respect. All these 40-point games we had last Friday night. Julius Randle, Malik Monk. See that game with Sacramento, 176 to 175 over the Clippers? Clippers still haven't won a game with Russ yet, but it's not Russ's fault. Even though Tyronn Lue took him out of the last game, did the same thing the Lakers were doing. Come on now. Let Russ play. Let Russ play. If he starts really tripping, taking ill-advised shots, making turnovers, then you have to play on Russ's psyche right now. You have to make Russ feel welcome and feel like that he's the first ballot Hall of Famer that we know he is. At least give him a chance to gel with the team, gel with the starting lineup. You can't sit him at the end of the game. Tyronn Lue even admitted that he probably should have kept him in the game. But don't start benching him in the fourth quarter at crucial time. At least let him play Let him play his way out of that spot first before he does that. But De'Aaron Fox, man, Sacramento, I don't think that's a team you want to see early on. Malik Monk, he's found his home. You think Klay Thompson went for what? Against the Rockets, of course, 12 threes. Again, the Rockets play tonight? What record are they going to give up tonight? I'm sure it's some record that they're trying to give up tonight or trying to create or break a record. My God. So we'll see what happens at the Combine, see who shines, see who steps to the forefront, see who elevates their draft stock this upcoming week. We shall see. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to these 40-yard dash times. Who can get out and go? We all know speed kills. Of course, I'm a guy that likes watching the film. Jerry Rice didn't have a great 40 time. Emmitt Smith, not a great 40 time. But make no mistake about it. You want speed. Speed kills. So, but I don't put a whole lot of stock in the combine and the workouts. Some of those guys do great in the combine, turn out to be great players. Some of them are bust. Look at Andre Bruce. I mean, I can go on and on. I can go on and on. Maybe we'll do that next week when we talk about the combine. I'll talk about the busts that have shined in the combine. Shine in the combine, only to be on the decline. But looking forward to these 40-yard dash times. Turn on the tape. I like seeing the film. Turn on the tape. Can he ball? Let's go. If he's fast, that's even better. But football speed and 40-yard dash speed in Indianapolis and track shoes and skivvies are two different things. Two different things. Make no mistake about it. So all you NFL scouts and coaches, turn on the tape. More than anything, turn on the tape. Can he play ball? What's his character? Does he like to work hard? Day in and day out. How quick of a learner is he? How productive was he in college? What competition did he play against? And that's why I keep going back to Bryce Young. Bryce Young is the number one quarterback in the draft. I don't care if he measures at 5'9", which I don't think he'll measure at 5'9". But again, Bijan Robinson, we can wait till the second. Bullshit. He better not drop past 15, to be quite honest with you. Talking about a superstar, franchise caliber back. Can carry the load, 3 down back. Come on. Some of y'all better wise up. He's the best running back I've seen in a long time. And you heard me at the beginning of the show talk about great college running backs. I'm from that ilk. He's the best running back I've seen in a long time. With that size, come on, man. And the name of the game is to put points on the board. But you're talking about he's a late first rounder? Are you crazy? Glad I'm not a GM. And I saw what I saw from him during his career at UT. I saw a mock draft where they say the Philadelphia Eagles will go and draft him. I'm like, oh, man, that would be illegal. That would really be illegal. I jotted down right here before I get out of here. I was just listening to Hubie Brown the other day. Man, how great is Hubie Brown? What is Hubie Brown, 87? I made note of this before. Man, his analysis is so on point. Him, Mark Jones, Doris Burke, but as color analyst, I mean, man, Hubie Brown at 87, he is sharp. And it's just, I had to jot that down again, listen to him the other day, like, man, this dude is just super sharp. Great recall, great memory, great insight, super intelligent, knows the game inside and out, conveys what he wants to convey to the audience very well, very thorough. Love listening to Hubie Brown and Doris Burke for that matter, among others. But I'm going to get out of here. You listen to the Sports Court. They call me the KID. They call me the Kid. I'm Gregory Beatty, the show where we keep it 100% of the time. Get my boy Eddie back in here at some point. If I can get him to take a day off of work, they have him working those crazy hours. But you'll see me. I'm going to keep it going. Ain't no stopping. I got to get my bag. Skrilla, I'm out, bro. Roof. Hey, man. Out of here. See y'all next Tuesday. Peace. Love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Legends live and let live. Man, what is down? Yeah. Man, what's up with this? Peace.